My name is Avril. I work for Trend Micro for the past 20 years now. And for the past 12 years, I have been focused entirely on Internet Safety for Kids and Families program. My boss is in the US, and between us, the program we roll out to employees all around the world. So for those of you who've never heard of Trend Micro, it's a global leader in cybersecurity. There's 7,000 employees around the world. They're very, very passionate about cybersecurity. And that's why the Internet Safety for Kids and Families program exists, because we're experts in security. What we want to do is give back to our community where it matters most. Hence why this webinar tonight. And part of my job is to train employees all around the world to do exactly this in their own countries. So to date, we've reached 3.1 million parents, students, and teachers all around the world with our free internet safety program. And that's what we're doing here tonight as well. So for the next hour, I'm going to present to you about managing time online. And I will not hang up until all your questions are answered. So the presentation itself will take about 45 minutes, and then Q&A afterwards. And I won't, as I said, hang up until all the questions have been answered. And I have two kids myself. They're 11. She's 11 going on 17, and he's almost 15. And, you know, reflecting even before tonight's webinar, I just thought, you know, we're all in this together. COVID has certainly posed so much for us in the last 2 years. And you're here tonight because you're concerned or you're worried about screen time, and you want to do what's best for your kids as a parent or as a teacher, and you want more information. And I know, you know, 93% of kids, if you look at CyberSafe Kids annual report this year, 93% of kids between the ages of 8 and 12 have their own device, tablet, mobile. 13 to 17-year-olds are on average 9 hours a day on devices online, which sounds crazy, but if you actually add it up, it's not so crazy after all. Now that can be, if you look online, this is from the Digital Wellness Lab with Dr. Rich in the US, but if you look at statistics anywhere online, the 9 hours is generally what you're getting. So yes, COVID, it's changed a lot for us about how we use the internet, how we engage with the internet, and a lot for better. I feel that in the last, I actually counted, we're 91 weeks in COVID since Friday the 13th of March 2020. This is week 91. And I feel that we are all, as a digital community globally, we're finally using the internet for what it was meant to be. You know, so and I'll go into that later. 4 billion people are now using social across the world. If you consider the population is what, 7.7 billion, 4 billion of them are on social, 2.7 billion are gaming. All of this has definitely increased over COVID. 300 million people are on Zoom every day, and that's us now tonight as well. So, you know, the purpose of tonight is to talk about screen time. And now that we're all locked into our homes today, and our kids aren't allowed to go to school, they're not only not allowed to go out now because of COVID, but because of this weather storm that we have as well. Probably more so in the south of Ireland. I'm based in Cork. I'm usually in the office, but the office is closed. So I had to spend half an hour cleaning this place up to make it look presentable. It doesn't always look like this. So, you know, we're locked in our homes. Managing screen time is something we're all really interested in learning more about, and that's what we're here to talk about. Please feel free to use the chat and the Q&A. Any comments, I'd love to hear from you. And you can ask questions anonymously if you prefer, which is, I think, a wonderful advantage to Zoom. If it's a question you just want to be anonymous, please do. And this 15 minutes more, Mom, please. Does that sound familiar to anyone? We want to try and move past that and help you tonight, you know, to not allow this thing called screen time become the forbidden fruit. We want to move past that. So at the end of tonight, I hope that you have information in your head, and this is recorded too, so you'll have this as a recording to share with others and to watch back, but that you feel you know the key, the important things, and you know where to go to get things if you need them, and you know how to do things. Okay, so I'm going to share my slides. Before I do, I just want to say hello to two people. They're my co-producers in the background, Elaine and Maria. So they will be assisting me tonight with the chat and the questions. So if I'm speaking and suddenly you receive a link, it's not from me. I'm not multitasking. My two partners in crime are helping me, and I'd be lost without them. So thank you, Elaine, and thank you, Maria. Okay, so I'm just going to share my slides and get started. And okay, so before I even leave this slide, the whole notion of screen time, I just wanted to talk to you about that, because screen time came up back in the 70s and 80s, when it was all about TV and the telly, and kids were spending a lot of time watching telly, and was it good for them? And it was all the conversation became about screen time. If you fast forward to today and you define it's very, very gray area. You've got, we've had kids do soccer training over Zoom. Did you ever think you'd see the day? My own kids here have done drama over Zoom every week for a whole semester. Art lessons over Zoom, music lessons. Let me know what your kids have been doing online through this whole COVID thing that you never thought you'd see happen. And kids are not only just Zoom, but also tutorials and learning how to play the guitar, how to bake, how to do so many things. Then you've got gaming and social, kids staying connected to their friends. They're not lonely. They have their friends. They're staying in touch with them, even though they're isolated in their house. You've got the Kindle, kids reading. You've got Fitbits, and the older kids might have very fancy watches connected to the internet. And then you have children with learning difficulties and learning and disabilities. So assisted technology has really fast tracked in the last couple of years as well, and especially this year and last year. People with audio and visual needs, and people with learning difficulties like autism. Sometimes with children with autism, it suits them to be at home. Others, it doesn't. And you've got a whole range of different disabilities. So the internet has been such an integral part of their lives, they'd be lost without it. So defining screen time is a tricky one. It's not so easy as before, when it was just about the telly. It's everywhere. We're immersed in it. And so I think before I move on, this was called screen time so that everybody understood what the webinar is about. But we need to move away from talking about screen time and talk more about quality time online. Quality time online, doing good use of time online versus bad use of time online, as opposed to screen time. We need to just, not focus on that so much. Okay. Okay. So before we begin, this is recorded, and I will be hosting this. It'll be put up on our website next week. Please use the chat. If you have any questions at all, put them into the Q&A. And if you have any comments to anything I'm saying, or any experiences yourself you'd like to share, there's a whole bunch of parents and teachers here. We'd all love to hear from everybody else. And again, you can use anonymous if you like. Like I said, it is recorded. This is the website. So anything that I refer to here, Elaine and Maria will also share out on the chat different links depending on what I'm talking about. But this is our website, and everything on it is free. Our Internet Safety for Kids and Families program is entirely free. And as I said, we've been doing it for 12 years now. We do parent talks. We have a Cyber Academy launched in October. Everything you need, all resources and support material is on our website, including tonight's recording once it's done. And once you finish the webinar tonight, there's a feedback form. So once you end, you'll get a feedback form. That's actually our website. You're on our website. So you can go to the top, and I'll show you later, and you can play around and have a look at different things on the website. There's some great stuff in there as well, depending on what you're looking for. Okay, so managing screen time. How do you break this down on a webinar with so many people who are keen to understand a bit more about how do we manage it? This webinar is for kids of all ages. So I'm going to cover how to deal with time for kids of all ages. And the two areas that I'm going to focus on for the next 30 to 35 minutes is the relationship you have with your child and tech tools, which is settings and all these cool things. So for the relationship, now the two of these, they're completely separate, and Trend Micro is a global cybersecurity company, but our number one piece of advice when it comes to the Internet Safety for Kids and Families program is the relationship you have with your child comes first and foremost. always. And there is no piece of technology that will ever replace the role of a parent, guardian, or teacher in a child's life. So that should give you all a sigh of relief. Take a deep breath, because it's back to basics. Always has been, actually. I think sometimes tech tools can distract you from the real important thing, which you already have to hand. So the relationship. But with that, you've got amazing tech tools. So if you have that relationship that you're nurturing with your children, and then you know the tech tools and you understand what the tech tools are all about, actually, together they complement each other quite well. And I'll show you how. And they cannot work in isolation. So you cannot just go in and set up all the tech tools on your kids' devices and off you go. It just will not work. So it'll cause conflict and strife and the whole lot. So how to blend them is what I'm going to talk about. So converting this conflict into nurturing that idea of self-regulation from an early age. It's not going to happen overnight, but that's where we want to get to, so that when we're not around as adults, kids are making the right decisions for themselves. I'll explain more, okay? Okay, so the first thing I want to do to get a feel for my lovely audience who've joined me tonight is to find out from you, how many hours a day are your kids on screen? Okay, so do you feel that we're going to send out a poll there in a few seconds. Do you feel it's not 2 hours they're on, maybe 2 to 6 hours on average, maybe 6+ hours, or you've no idea? And this is anonymous, by the way, there's no judgment here, but just a feel for how long you feel kids are online in your home. And you just choose. Now, this is multiple choice. So if you've got different kids, different ages, they could be, so you can answer 2 different ones if you have 2 different kids. But just to get a feel for how long you feel kids in your home are online. And we'll share the results with you so that you can see everyone else on the call tonight around Ireland, and you're from every county in Ireland. We'll see from that what's the rough amount of time. We have our own evidence here tonight on the webinar. Okay, so Elaine, you might, if you stop the sharing and share the results with everybody, please. That would be great. Okay, so you can see here that majority of people on this webinar, their kids are online between 2 and 6 hours a day. And I'm just going to look to see what the chat, okay. Okay, so presuming small screens are worse for eyes versus TV at a medium to long distance, how do we value different screen times? Nintendo, place. Okay, so I'm going to look at all those questions. We might just separate out those questions and answer them later, okay? Anne-Marie, 0 to 2 during the weekdays and more at the weekends. They only get their phones to go online on Friday to Sunday. Agreed, Anne-Marie, more at the weekends. Okay, and okay, so thanks Elaine, thanks Maria for sharing those results. So it's good to just get a feel for it. I'm the same, and I'll show you later, because what I did was I took screenshots of my own screen time management just to show you what it's like in my home, including my own screen time usage. And my kids are definitely online more at weekends. They are definitely online more today, and they will definitely be online more tomorrow, because they're not even allowed to go out on the trampoline, because it is actually still in the garden, but they're not allowed out there. And there's only so many things that they can do in the house. And they want to get on with talking to their friends and playing and things like that. So, okay, moving on. Setting the rules. So what I'm going to do here is talk about the relationship. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about the relationship and the things that we do first and foremost in the home. We need to understand what devices our kids have, be very clear on those devices. Are they a shared device, or are they a bespoke device for the child? And define what that is. Is there one particular one for school? Is it a shared one that they use at home and at school? If they're lucky enough to have one for both. And when you have that device and you've identified, you then need to decide, okay, when can it be used? So like you said yourself, more use at weekends. Some people are using it during the weeks and weekends. I find my kids when they come home from school, I think we all have that, we just need time out. So I have no problem. They might spend 20 minutes just doing some few things online. That's fine. But they know what the priorities are when they come home, you know, the uniform, the lunchbox, the homework, all that stuff, and then after school curricular or activities as well that they may have. So identifying when they are going to be online, and I'm going to show you something really interesting as well after this slide. How long they're going to go on it for. This obviously depends on the age of the child. If you look at the American Association of Pediatrics, they would recommend that no child under 2 should be on any device or looking at any screen. But I would say, everything in moderation. Um, and then after that, um, kids up from 2 plus to 2 to 5, no more than 2 hours, supervised. And then from 6 up, you know your own child, and you know what's appropriate and what's not, but supervised would be the way to go with that. And some kids aren't interested in technology at all, and are totally into sports, and others are. So it's just a matter of your own child, and you work with them. Where the device is very important. So I would say any children under 12, devices should be used in a communal area where you can see them at all times, or that at least you can keep an eye on them, and certainly not upstairs or in their bedrooms. And that somewhere where that you can hear, you can see, you can check in, and you can keep an eye on them. Because no matter how many safety settings and security things you have on their devices, you never know, and they can never be 100% safe. So always having your eye on them is really important. And with whom? So in the I did a webinar in October, and I did a webinar in November. The first one was on overall security safety settings in the home. That's recorded on our website. And the one in November was about gaming and social. Again, showing you how to set up all the safety features in those. So if you missed those, please go to the website and have a look. You can check back on the recording. It's on the events page if you just scroll down a bit, and there's a lot of good information there as well, and detailed how to on the slides as well, just to show you. So with whom, that's easily set up, but kids should only be talking to people that they know offline. My daughter often comes home with these usernames written down her arm, so she knows what their usernames are on particular games, and she tells me, and then she goes and she finds them and they're friends. So only friends that you know offline can you be friends with when they're in the online world, and it's good to get them into that. So what, when, how long, where, and with whom. And the next slide is to help you as well build that out. Setting the rules. Obviously, if they're 3, 4, 5, 6, absolutely you're going to be setting the rules, but setting the rules together with your child when they're over that age, 6, 7, that you're working with them together. Because if they feel that they're making the plan with you and they're setting the rules with you, they have a better chance, and you have a better chance of them sticking to the rules, because they're going to own that plan because they made it with you. And this is all about the relationship and the trust that you have with them. None of us here on this webinar, and no child wants to be controlled. And it's not about control. It's about trust, and it's about listening, and it's about the relationship. And we've got some great tech tools to help as well. But agreeing the rules together is really, really important. And one great way, and Dr. Rich is a pediatrician from the University Children's Hospital in Boston. And he's from the Center for Media and Child Health, and he works with a lot of children and has a lot of evidence-based research on his work. And this is something that, when we asked him what screen time, kids online a lot, how do we COVID has just catapulted us into this, we're all online so much more, but how do we manage this coming out of it? And what he said was, we need to avoid the forbidden fruit. When you give them an hour and then they ask for 15 more minutes, and then after 15 more minutes they're like, 15 more minutes please. What you want to do is avoid that, because what you're creating here is the forbidden fruit. So what he suggests is that you turn it on its head, and instead you look at developing a 24-hour chart, so you can write it down, draw it on a picture, make a little pie chart with them, but ask them to help you write out what happens in 24 hours. So you have to start off with things like, okay, well, you've got to sleep, you've got to eat, and you've got exercise, and they're all really important. And we've got to do outdoor stuff. So you get them to try and build it out for you. And how much time does all that take? Well, sleep will take this much time. I go to bed at this time and wake up at this time. And then meal time, how many meals do you have? And, you clock up all that time. And then you look at, okay, well, then you've got school. That's really important in learning. And then you've got homework. And then you've got reading and your hobbies and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of map out then in the 24 hours how much time that takes. And then you look at relationships, which is really important. So time with family, meal times as well is a good one. Time with family, time with friends, obviously socially distanced these days, but supporting relationships are really, really important. And then there's time left over. So in a 24-hour clock or in a pie chart, you're looking at the 24 hours. And what you're doing is you're from a young age, you're getting children to look at their time in a way that helps them identify what's important, what's priority, and it's helping them manage their time. So by looking at this, they know, well, that pretty much shrinks my time down to this much time left over. And within that time left over, what would I like to do? And within that time, well, I would like to do some of it online because I want to do some gaming or whatever, video editing, coding, teaching myself something, whatever it is, they want to do that online. So that all fills up the 24 hours of pie chart or whatever way you design it with your children. And it's really helping. And Dr. Rich explains this, which I love the idea of self-regulation. Like we're not going to be there forever. And these kids are kids, they're going to grow up. And what you want is for them to manage themselves as they get older, and that they will know the important things to do in their day, and they're conscious of time that they have, and if they go over that, the impact it has on everything else. So so that's the 24-hour, and I would urge you to just try it with your kids. Just maybe tomorrow, if you're working, or maybe you might have some downtime tomorrow, but just try it with them. Draw it out, just get them to look at it, and then okay, and how long does all that take? And then the time left over. And then it's about the relationship you have with your child and setting the rules, like I said earlier. Okay, so let's set rules together on how long you're going to be online, what are the things you're going to be doing online, and why you like what you're doing online, and just getting to know more about them. So when we talk about the relationship, which is Trend Micro's number one rule when it comes to internet safety for kids and families, right? We're talking about trust. And if you talk to, at a webinar I did about 4 weeks ago, I had a parent ask, I have a 13-year-old, I can't introduce this now, he's 13. What do you think I should do? And I suggested to give them the tool themselves, the tech tool, and ask them to download it, deploy it, and monitor their own activity online and check in every week to have a look at it together. So I'll explain a little bit more, but it's about trust. I mean, that 13-year-old will be like, you want me to manage my own, you want me to have a look at what I'm doing online on different, okay, so it's about trust. Now, obviously from a young age, what you want, and with tech tools that are really important, it trains young people's brains into what's right and what's wrong, what's important to protect myself, my safety, my privacy, my information, and from strangers and things out there that I cannot ever unsee. So that's why tech tools are really important. So from a young age, you can share with kids and they understand what's important to have nailed down when it comes to technology. But again, another great opportunity to build on the relationship and building trust. Active listening is really important as well, so that when they come to you about something, that you don't overreact, that you don't confiscate the device, that you listen. You might have to bite your lip. You might not really want to hear this, but isn't it more important that you hear it than not hear it at all? And I say this probably on every webinar, but it's when the talking stops that the problems really start. So you really do want to know what's going on. And if kids feel they can talk to you and you don't explode and you don't overreact, they'll keep coming back. So agreeing rules together. Well, how long do you want to be online? And if that's a difficult thing, depending on their age, the tools that I'm going to show you in a minute will really help with that too. Kids need structure. They might never tell you, but they do. And from research, and again, the Digital Wellness Lab, The children that get into difficulty with amount of time online are the children that are unsupervised and that are children without structure. I co-presented on Safer Internet Day a few years back with a child psychologist, Dr. Michelle Mulcahy, and we were talking about internet safety. And I was intrigued to hear what she was going to say because she was a child psychologist. And she spent 30 minutes talking about the importance of sleep and sleep and sleep and how important sleep was. So, sleep, exercise, routine, structure, and healthy meals. And that's what she spoke about. And it kind of reminded me of what Dr. Rich said as well from the Digital Wellness Lab. Kids need structure. They'll never tell you, but they do. And they're out of sync if they don't have it. So agree rules together. They feel part of the rules. They're more likely to abide by them. Again, confiscating devices, I would say be very careful as a caution. You know, if you confiscate the device, the problem goes away. It never happens again. You think you've solved the problem. But what might be happening is your child might translate that into, I won't be telling her or him that anymore because they'll just take my device away. So when you think you've solved it, they just know not to come to you again. So just a word of warning around that, just to be careful about it. I had a parent one night say, oh my God, that's exactly what I did a few weeks ago. My daughter said some awful things online to a friend and it all blew up and just took it off her. And, you know, we talked about it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going back to your child saying, look, I'm sorry, like I'm only human. I make mistakes. And, you know, how about I promise never to confiscate your device again, never take it away from you, as long as you always talk to me. And it was a wrong thing for me to do. And can we just talk about things? So, you know, use things as an opportunity. We all make mistakes. I definitely, with my youngest, would, I've threatened in the past, but I've never. And she said to me one time, you said you'd never take it away. And I said, but I haven't. I haven't taken it away and I won't. And we talk about things, you know, and that's the trust element of the relationship and the listening and the not overreacting. And it's hard sometimes. I mean, they're there to push you to your limits, but we're there as parents as well to try and figure it out with them and do the best we can. So quality versus quantity online. So meaning, let's not get hung up on how much time should my kid be online. I'm really worried about them. I think they're on it too much. Focus on the quality. Are they learning things? Are they being creative? Are they scrolling passively for hours on end? Is there a genuine reason for your concern? If they could be reading Kindle, they could be doing their homework, they could be watching, listening, following up on news items, researching whatever they're interested in, chatting to friends, that's okay too. And gaming is a huge piece of kids. Gaming is a social network. It's where they hang out. It's where they just release and talk to their friends and hang out. It's more than just a gaming. So, you know, what is it they're doing online? Is there learning? Is there value in it? Are they benefiting from it? And when you feel that there's a no to all of those and you are really worried, that's when I would say, well, you know your own child, and you know what you see, if it gives you concern, that's when I would say to you to sit down and talk to them. Look, I've noticed that when you get off your device, there's a lot of screaming, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of slamming doors, you're not happy. And you know, I'm worried about you. I don't know if you're aware of how you are with the rest of the family. And you know, obviously you don't want to do this in the heat of the moment. You want to do this at a time when everything is calm and you know, when they're relaxed and you're relaxed. And just to bring up what you observe and ask them to talk and to share how they're feeling and if they agree, and to get down to the bottom of things with them. And you know, if you feel you still haven't solved it with them about the amount of time they're online, that maybe, you know, maybe it might be a good idea to pull back a little bit and what can we do to help you. You know, maybe talking to their friends, maybe talking to their friends' parents. It is so great to check in with your kids' friends' parents, and to be consistent across houses about technology use and rules. Great. And if you're still concerned, I would say, you know, we would recommend you know, your GP is your first port of call, and there is so much support out there to help you. And again, there's even a great webinar here on our website that we can share with you. on managing screen time directly from Dr. Rich, which I think is invaluable, especially if you are concerned. Elaine or Maria, you might share out that link on managing screen time so that people have it. So quality versus quantity. Let's not get hung up on the quantity, focus on the quality. And if you're really worried that they're on it too much and you're worried, then that's when to take action. Engage. I have worked with a lot of teenagers down through the years pre-COVID, going out to schools and then coming into the Trend Micro office where we train them and they go out and deliver the program to first years. And one of the big things that I've realized through feedback forms from parents talking on parent nights and from feedback from the transition years and teens, it's the same. The teens say to me, I wish I could talk to my parents more about stuff that goes on online. And when I deliver the parent talk to parents, the feedback, because it used to be handwritten piece of paper before when I was face to face, what they would write is, I need to talk. What one of the questions was, what will you do more of? I will talk to my kids more about this stuff. I feel I can now. So it's about bringing the two together and the relationship and talking to your kids, spending more time with them. And if your kids are very young, perfect age to just be online with them and learn with them. If they come home wanting a new app, research it together, spend time together, tell them what you're concerned about and you're looking for to make sure they're safe because that's your job. And then ask them why they want it and what's the fun for them. And together you're learning and you're also teaching them how to research. You're checking out the reviews of the app, you're checking out the age rating, you're checking out the safety of it, and you're deciding together whether they can have it or not. So they love that. You're spending time with them. Kids crave your attention at the best of times. So this is doing something with them together online. So engage them, spend more time with them online. And with the 24-hour thing that I just showed you in the previous slide, what you're helping them do there is you're helping them prioritize what they care about. What's important to them? Well, that's obviously important. That's important. And well, this I really, really like, but actually these are very important too. Why is it very important to sleep? If I don't get sleep, I'm really cranky and angry. And if I get stressed, I get super stressed. It has a domino effect. Kids love logic. So even explaining that to them, about what happens when you don't have enough sleep. And the next day, what happens in school, at home, arguments, stress, everything. So the amount of conversation that come out of that 24-hour thing is huge, and teaching them how to prioritize what they care about and helping them learn to manage it. Obviously, your 6-year-old isn't going to be managing their time online, but you're starting it off and you'll keep doing it to the point where when they're at a certain age, you feel, you know what, off they go. They're managing it then on their own. And they will use screen time apps because from working with teens myself, they all use it to manage their time. And I'll show you how that looks in a minute. Keep them busy. So it's not about turn that off. It's about turning something else on. And I really like that. The best way to bring someone out of the online world is to provide them with something in the offline world that is just as engaging. And that can be hard in a day like today, during a storm, when they can't go outside, they can't walk the dog, they can't do much. And if you're lucky enough to have electricity today, but finding things for them that lure them off the online world and into something that's engaging. So my 2 kids are offline tonight because I'm on this webinar, just to protect the Wi-Fi. One is playing chess, begrudgingly, no, I have to say, and the other is playing Game of Life, right, on her own, because the brother wouldn't play with her. But that's no, I must say that was forced now because I told them I was on a webinar. But it's finding things that they like doing offline and doing more of that together. And I have more ideas on that as well. I'll share with you as well. And it's not easy. Please bear that in mind. COVID has provided us parents with a lot of challenges, and it's worrying. It is worrying. So, I think we have to take that into consideration when we're looking at when our kids are online and we're worried about them. Okay, so keep them busy, and there's plenty to do, and I'll talk about that later. So we've talked about the relationship and the importance of the relationship with your child in managing their time online. It may seem somewhat abstract, but it is so important to you now and right throughout throughout their lives, really, but especially in their online world from an early age. So the next thing now is the tech tools. Okay, they work hand in hand, like I said earlier, the relationship and the tech tools working hand in hand. They don't work good just in silos. So you can't just set up the tech tools without the relationship. And if you have the relationship, great, but the tech tools really complement the relationship. So, for example, if I were to say to you, once you've identified with your child what things they want to do online, you can decide then, well, okay, look, you finish school, you come home at 3:30, and then you have to do your homework, and then you've got the sports thing, and then so you've pretty much during the week, time is limited to when if they can be online. And if you agree together a certain time online, or maybe you decide no because they're young or they're too young or you're not happy, it's every family's rule. There's not one rule for everybody. But you agree together what that is, and then you put it in place. And the tools will support you. So that now depends on, have you got Android devices, iOS devices? Are you using Microsoft as an operating system? So I'm going to give you some screenshots here of what they look like, okay? Okay, so if you have Android devices, you can download what's called an app called Family Link. And I have the iPhone, but I can download on my phone the Family Link in the App Store. And if my two kids had Android devices and I just had the iPhone, I can still connect my Family Link app to their two Android devices and manage it from there. Okay, this is the website, families.google.com Family Link. If you just Google Family Link, you'll get it anyway. But it's helping your family create healthy digital habits. And what is that when it's at home, says you? So these are just, every single one of these does the same thing. So whether it's iOS, Android, or Microsoft, they all do the same thing. They just look and feel different. So for example, some examples of what Family Link does: you can restrict activity to an hour, 2 hours, whatever you want, and decide that for every time. You can decide bedtime and daily limits, off downtime and time online. You can also decide that it's closed, it's off until from 9 o'clock at night till 7 a.m. in the morning, screens out, time out, the device literally shuts down. And you can, if your child decides they want to download an app that they really want, it comes to you just like this. You get a message on your phone saying they want to download Google Translate. Do you approve it or do you deny it? So you can set these up in the app itself by downloading the Family Link app, and it is very easy to do. And if you get stuck, you just go to this website and it shows you blow by blow what to do if you get stuck. It's that easy, I promise you. And these are the kind of things that you can do. Now, you could see if you didn't have the relationship with your child and you decided they're only allowed half an hour every day, and it'll just switch off at 8 o'clock at night, and no, they're not allowed to download anything. So you can imagine how that relationship's going to go. It's going to go south fairly fast. The conflict will go on the way up, and the relationship will suffer. So that's why it's so important to discuss together first what you want, what your child wants on the device, and decide what's realistic given 24 hours in the day and what else they have going on, and then set the rules. And if it's an Android device they have, look at this fabulous piece of technology that can help you with that. So now this will have to be reviewed every couple of months, midterm breaks, summer holidays, and again, an opportunity for conversation with your child. Great way to just have more conversation with them. So that's Family Link. Microsoft operating system. And again, it's the same thing. You can set screen time limits. You can filter content, and the same with Family Link, that you want to make sure your kids are only viewing content that's appropriate for their age, and they're only playing games that's appropriate for their age. Or you can download a report, and it's the same on Family Link. Every week, have a look at the report, sit down with your kids together and say, right, you spent, and this happened with me and my daughter, I said, you spent an hour on slime, super slime. It's literally your finger going like this on a screen. And it was really relaxing, and she loved it. And she spent a whole hour. She was just in love with this. No, she found it relaxing. I give that. But I said, listen, you can't, that's ridiculous. And she laughed and I laughed and we agreed. And she said, okay. So I was able to go in and limit it to 15 minutes a day because she did get benefit from it. It was helping her regulate. was helping her she got something out of it. She relaxed so and chill, which we all need. So, but she's only on it now 15 minutes a day, and she understands. I get that. That's otherwise it's mindless. So she understands that. So you can use the report together to look at, ooh, what did you do on that? You spent a lot of time on the video editing app. What were you learning there? Can you show me? I'd love to see. Show me anytime you make something. I'd love to see what you do. Or coding, or what did you learn? Did you learn a new piece of music or whatever it is? Get involved, and understand what they're loving. And the activity report is great to see what they're spending their time on and talk to them about it. And find your family. I mean, that's location services basically. If all the devices are connected together under the one app, you can see where they are within the family. So it's just a matter of setting them up on Family Link or setting them up on Microsoft. And the other one that I wanted to show you was family sharing with iOS. So if you have an iOS device, and my two kids have iOS, they just happen to have it because I had it myself and I was comfortable with it. Everyone has their own comfort device. So I set up family sharing, and I've got screenshots of my own device I want to share with you to show you what it looked like. Okay. So, and trust me, when I say I could do this, anyone can do this. I promise you. So family sharing, you can see here, Michael was the organizer, the parent guardian, Karina, and then there was 3 kids, 16-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old, and each of them has different restrictions and settings depending on their age and depending on what the agreements were with their parents. And down there you can see that's the website. But if you just go into the App Store, or you don't even have to go into the App Store, I'll show you in a minute. It's actually in settings, family sharing, to set it up. And you can see here, you just go into your Apple ID, click your Apple ID, and you see down here, it says, purchase sharing, iCloud storage, location sharing, and screen time. You can share all of these things with your family. So up to 6 people in your family, you can share music, you can share location, you can share photos, which is brilliant. We all of us here in the house have a family sharing photo group, and we share and communicate to each other on it, and we have a bit of fun, which is great. iCloud storage. So I have to get them to regularly delete their photos because they take a lot of rubbish photos. But I pay for the storage, and if anything happened to their devices in the morning, all of that is backed up onto storage as well. So it is really, really useful. But screen time here is the key, and that's where you find it. Okay. So I'm going to show you my device. It's called Avs Mobile there. This is my screenshot of my phone. You can see here my average time online. So it's dropped down 15% from last week. I was very busy last week on my phone. And you can see here, and I think this is the important thing to look at. You can see there's productivity and finance. So I did a bit of banking, I have to say, banking online through the apps. Most things are done on our phone these days. Productivity would mean work stuff for me. Social, and so social today, I was on social promoting this event actually through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook pages. And then travel. So the other things to remember is there's also things like creativity and entertainment, which don't appear here because I haven't done anything creative, but it would classify it as creative if I did. And entertainment. So if I'm watching movies or anything of an entertainment value, then it'll identify here. And the same thing for your kids. So this is the kind of report you get for your kids, and it'll show you how much time daily, and that's in the week. And if you go today, you can actually see exactly what they're on. So you can see here, I was 45 minutes on Safari. I was 43 minutes on WhatsApp. I spent a lot of time on Google. Spent a lot of time on my calendar in the week, just seeing what I have to do next, and so on. And the same with your child. You can see how much time they spend every day on what apps and games. And that gives you a good feel for things. Okay, so if you go within screen time, within settings, you can see here, this is literally on, so the first app, if you just scroll down on this comes up. Now I've blocked out my 2 kids' names to protect their privacy, but that's them. So if you click on any of those 2, you will get the same as what you see in the first slide. So you're going to get downtime, You see up here on the top here, downtime, app limits, communication limits, what's always allowed, and what am I going to restrict? What's content am I going to restrict? All of this will appear. So if you click on any one of these two kids, because I've set them up under screen time, you will get to go through all of these. So I'm going to show you that, right? So all of these things are within each of the kids as well that I can go in and have a look at. Now, again, I'll have talked to the kids about it. We've set it up together. And so I click on one of these and I go to content and privacy restrictions. And you can see everything here that I can do. So they're not allowed to change their passcodes. They're not allowed, I've turned off a lot of stuff really. Do not disturb while driving. No, they don't drive, but that's allowed. Now you might see here under content restrictions. So if you click content restrictions, you could do a lot of stuff. You can decide, okay, you can see movies and TV shows there are PG. Ratings for Ireland, because you've got different ratings in different parts of the world. Age ratings. So I want age ratings specific within Ireland that are relevant to Irish children. Music, podcast, clean. You can see down there web content, limit adult websites. So that's protecting and protective of that. Explicit language, don't allow. So there's a lot of things you can do in there. And if you click downtime, which you remember from the previous slide, if you go back and just click on downtime, this is just an example of what you can do. You can just literally turn off the devices, switch off from 9 o'clock at night till 8 a.m. in the morning. You can also go into apps and you can decide, okay, this app, like I said earlier, only 15 minutes. Okay, this app, like I've said it to my elder son, like seriously, unless you're learning a lot of stuff on Instagram, how much time do you really want on Instagram? And we talked about it, and he said, yeah, I know I spent it. So we agreed, and we restricted time on Instagram for him, but he agreed to it, not me. I just had the conversation with him, and then I pushed it in. So it's about the conversation, and looking at the usage reports, but not using them in isolation, because they'll backfire. They don't work in isolation to the relationship. If you go into iTunes and the App Store purchases, you can not allow in-app purchases. So they can't download an app without you getting a request. Your daughter wants to download this app. You have that as an opportunity to talk to them about why they want it, research together. So you can accept or deny the request. You can turn off in-app purchases so it's not connected to your credit card and so on, and you can protect things that way too. So that's just an example of what the iOS device looks like in the screen settings. And I purposely wanted to show you these because I know some parents don't want the detail, but a lot of parents appreciate the detail and want to know what it looks like when I'm actually doing it. Just don't be afraid to go into the settings and have a play around. You can't do damage. And if it's a thing that you are stuck and can't figure something out, just go to the family link page or go to the Apple family page or go Google family, Apple family, or Microsoft family. Just go on and search for that and you'll get everything you need there and lots of help. Okay, so when it comes to tech tools, this is just something else I wanted to mention about managing screen time. TikTok family pairing. And I mentioned this on the previous 2 webinars as well, but this is specifically, I want to talk about screen time management. Family pairing is basically where you decide your child is 13 and you've agreed that she's going to get TikTok and you are going to, she has her own device and the rules you've agreed with TikTok is that you're going to pair it so that you have your TikTok on your account and they have their TikTok account on theirs, but you're going to pair, which means it's like a mirror image and everything that you see what they do and they, so you can see what they do all the time. And it's a great way, to start them off. Again, it's built on trust. It's a fine line and you may not like that at all. Or you may feel, let's start this slowly. We can remove it, but it would make me feel better. Sometimes the parents need it more than the child, but it's about explaining that to the child that you just feel safer and you can get rid of it in time. If you look at the screen time management, separately to family pairing or even within family pairing, you can set a limit within TikTok of how much time your family member is going to be online. So again, even within the TikTok app, you can set the time and it'll time out. And after that, then you actually have to put in a special code that you've set up yourself as the parent on it. Because kids from the age of 13 to 16 within TikTok are protected, and they, there's a lot more protection for them within that age group. Now, if anyone's interested in more of the safety and security settings on tech tools, the webinar recording that I did in November is on our website that we can share with you as well. Elaine, you might just share the link to the events page so that people have that, and you'll find that on the chat. Okay, so to summarize, the blue light, melatonin. So melatonin is something that we all secrete when we're tired. And it is something that, when we yawn, when we stretch, or feeling tired, that's melatonin being secreted. When kids are on devices, there's a blue screen, all of us, there's a blue screen emitted. And there's a way you can turn that off in your device by going into settings. And it can be called brightness, or it can be called night shift, but it's basically reducing and toning down the color and the light being emitted from your screens. Kids love logic. So if you explain to kids, the blue light reduces the amount of melatonin going off in your head. Now, obviously, kids, a 6-year-old isn't going to know what you're going to be saying. But, listen, when you yawn, that's a sign that there's this chemical release reminding you that it's time to go to bed soon. If you're on a device, then the blue light is coming off. And that's reducing the melatonin, which means you're not going to sleep as well. You're not going to feel tired. You're going to be more awake, like you've had coffee, and stimulated. So explaining that to kids. So you can turn that off, turn it down in settings. And you might notice these glasses that people are wearing more of to protect them from the blue screens that are coming off the screens. So you can buy them too. They're fairly cheap. You can get them online and in town. What else is useful? Device-free meal times. I would recommend no devices are allowed at the table. Even, if I might have some parents are ringing me, I just put it away and I ring them back after dinner. I mean, dinner doesn't take that long, but, start as you mean to go on. And, again, I go back to Dr. Rich from the Digital Wellness Lab. Children do 1% of what they hear, but they'll do 100% of what we do. So, what they see, they'll emulate, and we want them to do more of that. And it's great to develop social skills, to hear what's going on in their worlds, have a bit of chat, and, social emotional development. I mean, the list is endless. There's so many benefits. Screen-free days. I have a friend at work, every Thursday night, they have a screen-free. They hated it at first, the kids, but now they actually love it. And they found loads more. They're totally into their board games now, or depending on the weather, they might go and do something as a family, but device-free of a night. So, that's something you can consider, or even once a month, but just have it as something in the plan. On one of the last webinars we did, there was someone that attended that said green versus screen, that you weigh up, let's have some green time limits. How much time are we allowed offline, and what are we going to do within that? It's green, it's playtime, it's fun time, it's offline time. So, it's a good thing to think about. Devices in the bedroom, I would say, is a major no-no for kids. I would strongly recommend that you keep them out of the bedroom. Problems start at nighttime when you don't know how long they're on it, unless you have the screen time set up, which is very, very useful. How long they're on it, who they're speaking to. And that's when things can get out of hand between friends or who they're talking to. And then the next day, they're sleep deprived, problems in school, lack of concentration, not good at their tests, getting cranky, anxiety. I mean, it's a build-up. They eat sugar then because they've low energy, bad diet. It's a vicious circle, okay? So devices in the bedrooms, I would strongly recommend against that. And I would also recommend devices an hour before bed, no devices. So, and that's again to just wind down the brain and the body and to relax and to get ready for sleep, which is so, so important. And to explain to kids why sleep is so important for their bodies and their minds. Older kids, they use this a lot. When they're doing their homework, it's so annoying that the phone keeps buzzing. So they put on the notifications, they turn off notifications. They just set it up and turn it off. Or they use the do not disturb sign. That little half moon shape on my phone, if I literally pull it down like that, I'll get the do not disturb there. I should have done that before the webinar. And I have do not disturb. And what it means is phone calls and messages will all come in, but I don't hear a thing, which is really great, especially during a webinar. Okay, so that's something to be aware of. Do not disturb. Older kids get, even younger ones do it when they're playing a game and they're constantly getting annoyed on Skype by a friend. They use the do not disturb, they turn the notifications off because they're so focused on what they're doing. So kids know how to use it, and we should encourage them to use it, especially when they're doing other things like homework, and especially with when you think about multitasking. Multitasking has actually been scientifically proven to not be of benefit, and especially during homework. And you can tell that to kids that research has proven that there'll be more errors, less remembered, and it'll take longer. So you're better off just doing your homework in a quiet space with just one thing, using the do not disturb, and just focusing on one thing at a time instead of split tasking, as they call it. So, nurturing that sense of self-regulation from a young age. Obviously, from a young age, you're doing the support, the nurturing there. But as they get older, it has sunken in and they get it. And that's where you're going with this. They're growing old, getting older. And when you're not around, they're able to manage their time. They're able to manage their devices. They're in control of their own devices, and they get on with it. So to conclude, the relationship and the cool tech tools that I've explained, they work beautifully and complement each other beautifully once they go together. But in isolation, I would say you can work on the relationship and strong trust. And it doesn't suit everybody, tech tools, and you prefer, you do trust them, and your own child and you don't need it. Or you might decide one kid actually does need it, but the other, you're fine with them, and you manage it that way. But it's up to you. But just to be aware that there are so many amazing tech tools out there to use, depending on the device you have. And even within apps themselves in the device, there's some great tech tools like in TikTok, like I showed you. So, and I guess as parents, that's what we want. We want to set the example, lead the example. And this is something I wrote down earlier before the webinar. The amount of time parents spend online can influence kids from an early age. As parents, we model heavy use as acceptable behavior. That means this is normal, kids. Frightening to read out loud, considering I work at a desk all day and they've seen me all day online, but they know it's work. But it's something for us all to be conscious of, isn't it? And what we need to practice what we preach and say as we do. So that's it. I'm going to open shortly. I'm going to stop talking and answer questions. And if you wish to leave now, you'll be redirected to this feedback form. And I would love if you could just give me your feedback and tell me if you want more webinars and what else we can share with you. And we will gladly do it in the new year. Christmas is coming, kids are getting devices. Managing those devices is a big thing. If anybody has questions, please just throw them into the Q&A for me. You don't have to give your email address at all, but if you would like to be put in for I raffle 5 antivirus software, anti-malware solutions. They protect 5 devices in your home for 1 year. It also includes family management tool as well, so it's useful. But if you'd like to be in the draw, just put your email address in. We delete it afterwards. You will not be contacted. If it's a thing you'd like to be sent the recording, just send us your email address in the chat, but please don't send it to everyone. Just click the down arrow and just send it to the host. And we will send you the recording so that you have this, and please share the recording with family and friends. We can't deliver this to enough people in our community. And as I said, it takes a community, so be sure to talk to parents everywhere. Just while we're on this page, when you hang up, you're going to be directed to this feedback form. This is the website. So you see up here in the red box for parents and teachers, there's a whole load of resources there for you to look at. And for kids, I've got the Cyber Academy, which was launched in October for kids between the ages of 7 and 10 years of age. And it's 5 to 10 minute long episodes, a video, a Kahoot quiz, great conversation questions to talk to your kids about at home, or the teacher can use them in the class every week for 5 weeks. And we're launching another 5 episodes in February. And they're everything from strong passwords to healthy habits online and everything in between. So, have a look around the website. There's some great stuff. And there's also resources in 10 different languages. So from Polish to Arabian to traditional Chinese, French, Italian, and Spanish, we've got top tips and top tip sheets, which you're more than welcome to take. And this is the one that you're looking at for tonight on trendmicro.com internet safety. It's the tips for setting new screen time rules. And this is in 10, all of them are in 10 different languages. So please just download it. They're available for you. Of course, everything we do is free. And the other thing that I just wanted to mention, because I've mentioned them several times, you might have noticed, is the Digital Wellness Lab. And this is an excellent resource to go to and fantastic stuff. Depending on the age of your kids, you get to see loads of content there to help and guide you. So this is time for questions, and I'm going to stop sharing. And I'd like to thank everybody for joining tonight. And if you're hanging up, thank you so much. And please join us again in the new year and share with everybody else. And if anybody would like, thanks, Stephen. So I'm going to go to the questions now and look at the questions and start from there. And Elaine, there's been a lot of stuff flying in. So my colleague Elaine and Maria, if either of you want to guide me here on, right, we've gotten an email there. That's great. Maybe there's no questions, is there? Hang on. Oh, I think the questions were in the chat. It could be.
A few questions in the chat, Avril.
Is there? Okay.
There's one there on Snapchat. Your views on Snapchat. They've been told from the school to take this app off their kids, but they find that if they do that, that'll be isolating their friends. And what alternatives to Snapchat would you recommend for 13 and 14-year-olds?
Okay, I see the message there now, Liv. So first, there's a couple of things, right? I wonder how your child feels about Snapchat being removed from them. I wonder what the reason is for the school asking for this to be removed. And I guess for us, we would be of the opinion that your child is of the right age to use it legally. It's about using it responsibly and using it in a way where they're using Snapchat at the right age. So when you log on to Snapchat at the age of 13, Snapchat actually protects you between the ages of 13 and 16, and you're not exposed to all content and you are actually more protected. So the last webinar that I did, Liz, was specifically on gaming and social. And I think if you want to send us your email address there, we can send you the link specifically to it. And I went into Snapchat specifically and showed you the settings on what, how to set it up with your child. So there's one thing on settings and, protection and privacy and safety. But the other side of that is behavior and the choices we all make when we're online and the things we say. And kids, their prefrontal cortex isn't developed fully until they're 25. So the chances of them saying something without really thinking about the consequence of it is high. And the only thing we can do is talk to them and talk to them and talk to them about it. So I don't know the background to what happened in that school, but I'd imagine it was something fairly serious. Maybe you're familiar or aware of what actually happened, but I would say sitting down, talking to your child about it, understanding what happened and why it happened. Does your child want to come off it? If they don't and they want to stay on it, then this is an opportunity. This here is seize the moment, use it as an opportunity to say, right, well, look, the school wants me to take it away from you, but what are the reasons you want to keep it? Can we agree some rules together? Can we look at settings and I want to be your friend in this and I want to look at what you're doing, or maybe your gut is telling you maybe they actually do need time out and you can use the school as an excuse to take it off for a couple of months. So as a parent, you need to gauge, your own child. Is this specifically about your child or is it something in the school? I'm neither condoning nor promoting Snapchat. I'm just saying at some point they're going to go on apps like Snapchat anyway. And as a parent, our role is to nurture them and to prepare them for being online. And behavior and the things we say and do have consequences. And we need to really, really be careful of that and talk to them about it. And if they really want to keep Snapchat, this is back to trust. You know, it's back to trust, it's back to the relationship. And, you know, you just have to monitor it. So I don't know, Liz, does that even answer your question? But I would recommend you look at the webinar I did in November, and I went through all the settings of Snapchat and Snap Map and everything blow by blow, just like I did there on my screen time settings, just to show you how to set it up. But I think the bigger thing here is the choices young people make, the impact and consequences of what they do and say, and helping them. Because if your child did do something online that was horrendous and bad, we need to be there to help them because they're kids and we need to help them through it. Because if we're not there to help them through it, what's going to happen? And like I said earlier, when the talking stops, the problems really start. So you want to hear what's going on. You want your child to tell you everything. You don't want to be the last to hear things, you know, and it's your child. So I don't know, does that help? I hope I'm not getting what Elaine is there. Hang on 1 sec. It would be great if all parents could be educated on the dangers of Snapchat. So there are dangers of Snapchat. There are massive benefits too. Like for example, when your child goes to the nightclub or the disco when they're 15, 16, they have their Snap Map on just for you so that you can see where they are at all times. You can actually relax. I know where they are now. They're gone to be or whatever, you know. So there are some benefits. And for friends meeting each other at a concert or friends meeting each other in town, they can open up Snap Map. You know, there's so many benefits. So yes, there are risks, and yes, there are benefits, but there are a lot of safety things that you can do to protect you and your child using that app. And I went through them on the webinar last time. Okay. Would love to receive the link to the recording. Okay, thanks, Simon. Dermot, is there a recommended tech tool if kids are using multiple devices? Is there, Dermot, let me see. There is a Trend Micro. Let me see. Actually, well, the ones I showed you, you can do on multiple devices. But we have home network security in Europe. I know Trend Micro does one. The best thing that I would recommend you do for that is to research it. And I'm telling you now, you will get, I don't want to be promoting brands and particular things to use, but if you go online, it's like, what's the best laptop to buy, or what's the best Wi-Fi, or what's the best booster for my house to improve my Wi-Fi. You will get the research and that will help you make the best decision. It's like buying a car. It's the same thing, just to do research. So for you and your needs, Dermot, I hope this answers your question. I wouldn't recommend one anyway. We do have one, but there are a lot of them out there, and I would say just do your research. You will find the one that suits you best, but be sure and use the things that are free first of all and try them out depending on the devices that you have. Xbox and PS4, within them there's parental controls and settings. You literally have to sit down on the couch, go into it, or on your laptop, on your desktop, go in, set up the account and go through it and do the settings. I've done that on the PS4. It takes about an hour. I'm a bit slow, but they're there for you to set up parental controls, managing the account, the wallet, the whole lot. It can be done on PS4 and Xbox. You just have to find them. I hope that answers your question. Please share digital wellness. Thanks, Aoife.
Is screen time on TV before bed included as the 1 hour limit?
Is screen time on TV before bed included in 1 hour limit? It's a great question, because like I said earlier, define screen time. So this, having kids like this right up until they go to bed, they're wired up. I mean, having a hot cup of milk or something like that. Lullaby milk, I never mentioned that actually. That was the child psychologist I co-presented with a few years back. I don't know, has anyone heard of lullaby milk? I thought she was joking. This is a serious thing. You can buy it in the supermarket. The most popular supermarkets in Ireland, you can buy it. It's cows that are milked late at night and they've increased levels of melatonin, you know, the chemical, in the milk. So the milk is perfect. It just has a higher level of melatonin. And it can help make kids tired. Adults too. I know cancer patients drink it and they find it really helpful to go to sleep when they're suffering from insomnia. So lullaby milk is brilliant for sleep. I kind of went off on a tangent there now. But TV, I say to my own son, he goes off the device and he comes in and watches TV. He's like 10 feet away from the TV. He's half listening, half watching. It might be the news, it could be something we're all watching together. And it's winding down time. The brain is fully engaged on something specific to them. So I think, personally, I think TV is fine. So yes, define screen time. I've said it, my case in point. Um, so it could be like going to bed and reading a book. It could be on Kindle, white font on black to help. There's no blue screen on it. You can on the Kindle. So it's just a matter of winding down the brain. I hope that makes sense, Tracy. Can you send me the link? Is there anything else there? Anything else there, Elaine? I think that's it, is it? Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. If anyone has any other questions, what do you classify as devices when referring to one? Oh, I think, Tracy, I just answered that. Did I? Or did I? Yeah, like the Kindle, the big TV, where they're not, but you might decide no devices at all. Just switch off. Let's have a conversation. Let's have tea and toast. Let's have maybe milk on toast, but just help them wind down, you know? Um, okay, I got the thumbs up. I think that might have been Tracy. Um, okay. So where do I find your Snapchat help info? That's Claire. So let me see. I'll just find that on the events page. I have it here. So here you go. I'm just going to share that out to everyone. There you go. Was it Tracy was asking me for that? No, Claire Gibson. So you were looking for the information on Snapchat. So I just sent you the link to the events page. If you just scroll down, and it's called Gaming and Social Network. And I go through three popular gaming games like Roblox, what was the other two? Fortnite and Call of Duty. And then the social networks that I went through were TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. And I went through them from a number of different perspectives, including safety settings. And again, like I said, behavior is the other side of it. Sometimes it's not the app to be blamed, it's the behavior on the app and the education. That's where the education and the role of the parent and the school comes in. And you can share that with your school as well, Claire, and tell them they can share it out with everybody. It's a recording that I did 4 weeks ago. And the more parents look at it, the better. So please share them out. And thank you to those of you just about to hang up. You'll be redirected to the feedback form. Be as honest as you want and tell me what more stuff you'd like to hear. But be sure and look at the events I've done in the last few months as well. And the ones earlier in the year are all done with Irish Sign Language. For those of you who have any hearing impairments or know somebody, pass them on again. Thanks, everyone. And Elaine and Maria, I can't thank you enough for being my partners in crime tonight. This is the last webinar of the series for 2021. Weather bombs and all, we survived it, and I didn't get my electricity or Wi-Fi cut off, thank God. I was dreading it just in case I get cut off. So thank you, Elaine, thank you, Maria, and thank you everyone for joining.